Hi everyone, I'm Rushali. I'm one of the co-founders of Incubyte, and with me I've got Sapan, who's the other co-founder. Today we're going to talk about AI, and as AI is starting to augment a lot of functions in our daily lives, it has also fueled a lot of debate. So we figured that some of those are coming from a place of knowledge, while some are coming from fear. And Sapan, I know you and the team have been experimenting quite a bit with OpenAI, Copilot, and ChatGPT. So it would be great to talk about it. Why don't you tell us a bit about it?
Sure. So I think as a team, we have already started using Copilot and kind of started trying it. With Copilot, we are also using ChatGPT every once in a while. So we are creating our own AI playground just to try things out, and we are seeing how effective ChatGPT is at kind of helping you create software. And we see it's amazing actually because it's almost like instead of searching for docs, what if you ask ChatGPT? Now, a lot of us already know, let's say, writing JavaScript, but we don't know the first initial steps to start writing a Chrome extension. So you could ask how to write Chrome extension that does X, Y, or Z. And as soon as you do it, it step by step tells you and gets you to a state where now what's left is just writing JavaScript, which everyone knows well, right? So it kind of drops your learning curve heavily as you start a new project. Um, so the playground that we are creating, the UI is created by ChatGPT, and in the backend we are using OpenAI just to kind of try how good feedback can it give on a code we write, right? So we are creating a small playground where we can paste our own code and ask for a critique, let's say, right? And we'll be launching it real soon. Um, yes, and other people at Incubator are also playing with Copilot. So let's see how it goes. I think we should also compare our notes in a few months.
That's awesome. And there's so much talk about how software development is going to turn into prompt-based development or prompt-based engineering. How have these tools? How effective have these tools been for you? And what are your thoughts around this change coming about in software development?
Yeah, it's a great autocomplete functionality. That's how I see it right now. But let me ask you a little bit differently. Have you used ChatGPT or OpenAI in any way in your day-to-day workflow?
Sure, I use it to help me write sometimes, but oftentimes what I've realized is that it took me way longer to figure out the exact right prompt, and to refine the results than it would have taken for me to write it myself, especially things like emails. But when it came to like long form content like blogs, it probably gave me the right skeleton, the right framework to help me get started on it. So that's my experience so far.
Right. Well, in the world of developer, people do jokingly say that hey, if you keep fine tuning your prompt to get the exact output, then that prompt is a line of programming language, right? It's a command. But anyways, so the one thing that you said is it takes you a lot of effort to get you the output that you want. Uh, but how about the quality of output itself? Was it factually correct? Were you able to depend on it all the time?
That's a really good point. Not really. And in fact, I have a couple of interesting examples too. I had to fact check everything that came up. And while this may change in the future, OpenAI does give disclaimers as well that whatever ChatGPT gives may not be entirely accurate. But to give you an example, I was once looking for examples of fraudulent software and cases of fraud in technology and in software. And one of the examples that popped up was the Waymo lawsuit against Uber. And while it's a totally valid example, the facts were in fact reversed. And ChatGPT told me that Waymo was the one that was facing allegations when actually it was the other way around. And this is my personal experience, but in fact, there may be a lawsuit around this, the first defamation lawsuit that may be on its way. And this happened just last week, in fact, where ChatGPT reversed the facts in a bribery scandal in Australia, and it named a mayor, a local mayor, as the one bribing foreign officials, while he was actually the one who surfaced this fraud and surfaced the fact that some certain officials were accepting bribes. So it's not just me. I think a lot of people in the world have come across this as well.
True. So now I think what you're saying is that you have to spend a lot of time in fine tuning the prompts. Then you have to spend a lot of time in fine tuning the output that you get, right? And then you have to verify the output for the correctness, right? So I
Yes.
think it's very much similar for the world of software as well, right? That's equally effective. Anybody who's seeing the effect or working with OpenAI, and if you're working just with, let's say, paragraphs of text to write emails or blogs, finally programs are also just text, right? And ChatGPT doesn't really differentiate between code or is it typical English or not, or that's what I believe. Um, but same applies when writing. So that's how effective it is. After doing a lot of work to a degree that I was creating this web page, and for get it to just the right blue, I had to find the hex equivalent of that right blue and give it to it. So we have to fine tune a lot of prompts, and then the output, of course, was the test cases and everything that was written was also not great. So we had to do the exact same things on our side. You have to fine tune, you have to do multiple prompts, and you have to verify everything that ChatGPT is giving you.
Yeah, that's true, and that's what we've heard across the board. But has this been true for all the use cases that you've tried, or have you found anything where it's worked really well for you?
Oh, it does. So yeah, you can't focus on just one of or the other thing. You have to kind of accept. It's like a friend that you have to accept with their flaws, right? So uh, it can help you. For instance, let's talk about Copilot, right? So Copilot knows about the context. If you have installed it in VS Code or if you have installed it in IntelliJ, then it already knows that what test framework are we using or what CSS framework are we using. So when it generates the code, it's quite accurate. It will use the test frameworks. It will use the packages that you're already using. So the probability of it just running without making a lot of change is very high, right? On the flip side, ChatGPT doesn't know the context, but unlike Copilot, Copilot can just do autocomplete of a few lines of code. On the other side, you can subscribe to ChatGPT Plus, and you can ask a very open-ended question. I want to create a Chrome extension or an iPhone app, and it'll give you step-by-step instructions with chunks of code, like big files, and it'll tell you copy and paste this code in file X, Y, and Z. And at the end, you just have to compile the code, and it will run also with a very high probability. But it's known to hallucinate package names, or it may have these dead variables that's not being used anywhere. So you have to do a lot more cleaning, and it doesn't know the context of what frameworks we want to use. So it may use uh, frameworks that you don't want to use, right?
True, but you did give a couple of examples where it did do a good job, right? So it can generate a ton of useful code. So if it can, shouldn't developers feel threatened? It's only going to get better.
Well, I really don't know. So I think the problem with software is not the fact that we are not able to write it fast enough, right? It's actually other way around. We are writing a lot of code, and with a lot of code, we are writing a lot of bad quality code. And ChatGPT can accelerate the quality problem. We may be generating technical debt faster than ever, right? Um, and about being threatened, I think I may actually equate it to the outsourcing threat of the 2000s, right? When people thought, hey, all our jobs are going out, right? And did people lose jobs? Was it a threat to many? Yes, but to many, it created opportunities. So we still have to see it. Some people were able to capitalize on outsourcing. Some people were able to create business models out of outsourcing. I think it's going to be very similar. We'll have to, as time passes by, we'll have to see it will create opportunities, but it is equally threatening as well. And it's a big change. Change is usually scary, right? So that's that. And I think second thing is ChatGPT is learning from the code we have written, right? And in the world of software, mediocrity is a norm. So the code that we are writing, we are not actually setting a great example. And from that code, ChatGPT is actually learning. So the probability is very high that any model that OpenAI is generating and ChatGPT will create the code, it will be mediocre or it will not be great. And I have seen it. So in the tests or codes that code that Copilot creates, I have seen how a lot of time it's mediocre or outright not usable. We have to do it like 3 4 times, regenerate it, and one time it may create. So as a human, I still have to use my judgment to accept the suggestion that Copilot is making.
Absolutely. And you said that ChatGPT is learning from the code we have written in the past. And by we, you mean the entire software development industry. And yeah, majority of the industry has not used good practices. And we're seeing that there are in fact a ton of examples about companies losing millions of dollars because of low quality software. So that may just percolate even faster.
Yeah, yeah, true. And you're so right, because what happens is that it knows how to code, right? So like, but I'm not sure, has it correlated, let's say, that coding with clean coding and software craftsmanship and clean architecture or software architecture books which are out there, and does it actually correlate the concept of modularity, let's say, with the code that it is generating, right? Plus just the material on clean code may be so limited when you are actually going and just scanning thousands of open source GitHub repositories, right? So how many of them are clean? We don't know really. So
We've scanned a few of those. We know how much is
right,
not clean.
not
In
not
fact,
clean exactly.
um,
Yeah, of respectable projects,
yes, yes, yes.
right?
Very, very true. But that said, we still know that there is a place for it in our work. So how can you talk a little bit about how we plan to use AI at Incubyte?
Sure. And I think we have to, and as a matter of fact, we just talked about it a day before or yesterday, where we said that just like ThoughtWorks Technology Radar, we should take this and put OpenAI in our assess category, and we should start assessing ChatGPT, Copilot, everything. I think first thing that we have to do is we have to augment it in our day-to-day work, right? We have to start working with it, playing with it. And I have seen that it does a lot of times. Like, just imagine, right? If you want to create a regular expression that parses an email, this is something where you'll spend 3 minutes maybe Googling or searching, making sure that this regex is true or not, right or not, it's working correctly or not. On the flip side, now with Copilot, I can just write a comment or I can call a variable that says email regular expression and just do a equal sign and it will auto-complete it with that. And recently we were writing a parser, so all I had to do in a file is parse SSN, parse email, parse phone number. And something that would have taken me, let's say, 10 minutes, I was able to do in less than three, maybe less than 20 seconds, 30 seconds, right? So quite fast. And all I had to do is just run the test cases, which I have already written. So of course, trust it, but verify it, right? So you verify it and then you kind of keep working with it. Other thing is we educate ourselves with what's going on, right? And can we see if it can help the developer productivity or not? So who knows, maybe the iron triangle, the known iron triangle of cost, quality, and speed, where you can choose only two, maybe now you could choose all three, or do work fast with high quality in lower price. We'll see if we get there or not with time, right? And I think we also have to look at it from client side. Can we help our clients in augmenting AI in their products? So there are three things: we educate ourselves, we use it in our day-to-day work, and then help our clients to augment AI in their work. And I think that we should start right away. There's no reason why you should be watching it from the sidelines.
Absolutely. And I know you have, and several people in our team have. So it's been great watching experiments that the team is doing with Copilot. In fact, we heard situations where it's boosted productivity like 3 times, even while we're experimenting. So would love to see where this gets us. And you used OpenAI APIs as well to create our small little playground. So It'll be awesome to do that for more clients in their products. But yeah, if I were to paraphrase, bottom line is that it's a great helper. It's not going to take away our jobs for now, at least. And but everything said, it is our responsibility to use it well.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks for talking to me about this.
Thank you. Loved talking about it. We should do this more.
I know.
All right.